Now, on Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the Coast Guard has begun a search operation for a Port Lavaca man who disappeared in the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. We have the latest. And GOP presidential hopeful Doug Burgum has suspended his campaign. We'll tell you why, and we'll tell you the new accusations he's making against the RNC. And the price of gold has reached an all-time high for the second day straight. What's causing the rise? We have those details from analysts coming up.
And it's going to be a nice warm rest this week until we get a cold front come this weekend. We're going to take a look at that and the weather coming up.
We now know who the 4 Heisman finalists are. Find out that in sports.
And you're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Carolina Astrain.
And I'm Parker Cox.
And today it's the 5th day of December 2023 and it's 6:30 on our Tuesday morning and it is National Blue Jeans Day.
Ooh, that's a good day.
Yeah, that's why I wore my kind of blue jean print dress as close as I could get.
I don't know if y'all ever noticed, but usually Carol and Lynn are always matching, so.
Yeah, we do our best to match for y'all. Well, Parker, love your attention to detail.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
What are the details in the forecast today?
Well, the details on the forecast, is going to be a nice day today, actually. But a little cool starting out the day. Take a live look at East Victoria right now, where, like I said, it's a little cool. 46 is that morning temperature starting out the day here on the Crossroads, but with a dew point of just 42, we've got a humidity of 86%, so not too high, not expecting any fog. Usually fog forms about 95% or higher, so that's pretty good news. No fog today. Well, like I said, pretty much most of us starting out in the mid-40s, maybe a couple in the couple areas in the north area like Cuero, Gonzales, or Yoakum might be in the low 40s. We're going to be warming up quite nicely into the low 70s today, making a beautiful day to get out inside and do something. But tonight I'm going to drop right back to the mid-40s. So if you have any plans outside, bring them right back inside because I don't want to let them suffer in that cold weather. But then tomorrow, going to right back to 70 again. It's actually going to be in the 70s for the rest of this week until Saturday. We get a cold front coming our way. Let's take a look at that front here in a second. We see the high pressure currently over the Rockies right now, still keeping us in the 70s instead of the 80s. Usually we get right back to the 80s when we get southerly flow, but we've got some northerly flow around this high, keeping us in the 70s right now. But as we take a look over near Alaska, there is a deep, deep low pressure system up there, which is going to make landfall in Canada today, actually. But once that happens, there's going to be several low pressure systems that spawn off of that, and one of those is going to move right over the Rockies and redevelop right over the Panhandle, giving us a good shot at some showers and that cold front coming through our area by Saturday. And actually, ahead of that front, especially in the Arklatex area, they might see some severe thunderstorms over there. So if you have any family over there, let them know they might see some storms on Saturday. And come up a little bit, we're going to take a look at that coming up in a little bit. We'll take a look at that and those rain chances and those cooling temperatures coming next week and more in just a few more moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. A 50-year-old Port Lavaca man disappeared over the weekend in the Gulf of Mexico. Felipe Lozano went missing while working on a commercial fishing boat in the Gulf near New Orleans. The captain reported the incident around 2 a.m. Saturday. The Coast Guard has begun a search there in the area for Lozano. Investigators say he disappeared near Port Fortunerue. City Council member Dwayne Crocker's name will appear on the ballot come February 3rd as he has formally entered the race for mayor of Victoria. The deadline to enter the race ended yesterday. The city has called for a special election for February 3rd of next year. District 2 City Council member Josephine Solis became the first candidate to file for the mayoral race. Carissa Winters followed behind her, and Winters listed herself as a community leader on her application. Robert Bob Constantine joined the race Saturday. On his application, he registered himself as Chief Operations Officer, and the race got even more intense Monday after 3 more candidates formally entered their bids for the seat. That includes Dwayne Crocker, as we mentioned earlier, and Jacob Sauceda, a technical director for the Victoria Television Group, also entered the race Monday. While he does qualify, the city secretary says he cannot spend or accept money for his campaign until he files the appointment of a campaign treasurer form. Peter Brown, also attempting a run at the seat, he listed his occupation as project manager. Victoria County Sheriff deputies have brought charges against a man suspected in a migrant bailout on Sunday. The incident happened on FM 236 just south of Winter Lane. 36-year-old Rodrigo Flores of Fresno faces charges of human smuggling. Rodrigo's in the Victoria County Jail as of now. Authorities have not set a bond. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum announced Monday he's suspending his presidential campaign. He failed to gain enough support to make the stage for the third and fourth Republican debates. In his announcement, he accused the RNC of nationalizing the primary process. And while he reiterated calls for Republicans to defeat Biden in 2024, he stopped short of endorsing one of his opponents. Rescue workers pulled a driver from a dangling truck on a Dallas interstate Monday. Authorities received a call around 2:30 p.m. that a wreck happened on Interstate 35 East near Victory Lane. The driver of the Sharon Williams box truck was trapped inside, hanging off from the Stemmons Freeway overpass. The urban search and rescue team were called to help. After stabilizing the truck in its resting position, they used a couple of aerial ladders in their efforts. One of the ladders was placed on the road below, lifting the technicians up to the cab of the truck. They fashioned a rope system at the tip of the second ladder and positioned it above the cab of the truck. The driver was eventually pulled from the truck and taken to a local hospital for evaluation. Gold prices reaching a record high for a second day in a row Monday after rising for 2 consecutive months. Analysts have attributed the rise in price to an increased demand for the asset as the Israel-Hamas war unfolds overseas. The price hit its peak at $2,110 per ounce Monday before giving some gains and trading at roughly $2,024 per ounce later in the day. The demand shows no signs of slowing. Analysts predict gold prices could continue to remain above the $2,000 levels next year. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:36 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. Leaders at the Victoria Regional Airport say for the first time in about a decade, a goal was reached. Plus, a house explosion in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. caught on camera. We have the details for you after the break.
And also coming up after the break, we'll take a look at your school bus forecast. We'll take a look at that allergy report. And later on Sunrise, we'll take a look at your fishing forecast as well. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're waking up with us this morning, if you're just tuning in, look at a live look at Cuero, where it's pretty clear out there and also a little chilly this morning. It's pretty normal. We have that for the last couple days, but 41 is the morning temperature in the Cuero area, and I put Gonzales because that's the closest town to Cuero that isn't Victoria. But a dew point up there in that area of 35, making that humidity a 78%. I misread that. But those winds are pretty calm. That's pretty good. That's actually going to help out with the allergies. We'll take a look at that in a second. But if you're sending your kiddos off to school, it's going to be about 45 as they're heading out the door. Cool and mostly sunny. Cloud cover will pick up and warm up a little bit going into the afternoon. So maybe just pack them a light jacket going into school today, because it's going to be 73 and partly cloudy in the afternoon. Beautiful, beautiful weather this afternoon. And like I said, with those calm winds, we're not really expecting any allergies. As you see here, the tree, grass, and ragweed pollen are all non-existent today. So that's pretty good news. We don't really like allergies, do we? Well, here in the Crossroads, it's going to be beautiful weather for the rest of this week. Even we might hit an 80 on Saturday ahead of that cold front coming our way. We're also going to get some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms on Saturday ahead of that as well. Warming up to 78, like I said, but we're going to drop right back to the 60s after that front passes on Saturday with some windy conditions ahead of that as well. And we'll take a look at that and more in just a few more moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. We have your 4 Heisman Trophy finalists and the viewers have spoken. Is this Edna's year? Here's sports reporter Zach Brown.
Yesterday, I got to catch up with the Edna Cowboys, who know that they have to correct their mistakes from last year playing the defending state champs, the Franklin Lions. And let's take a look at our viewer poll. Is this the year Edna makes it to a state championship game? 81% say yes, 19% say no. Edna certainly playing their best ball of the year. Got to look at Franklin last year, so they're very familiar with what the Lions can do. Should be a fun one in the Houston area. And we now know the Heisman finalists for the 2023 season. Only one of them are still playing. We have wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who was C.J. Stroud's favorite target when he was at Ohio State. We also have LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, quarterback of Oregon in Bo Nix, who just lost to Washington, who has the only Heisman finalist that is still playing, and that is quarterback Michael Penix. There have been only 3 receivers to ever win the Heisman Trophy. The last time was back in 1991 when Michigan's Desmond Howard won it. And with the Jacksonville Jaguars lost to Houston Texans, only one game back of the AFC South. That's your 25 Sports Now.
Thank you, Zach. All right, we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. Now to a massive explosion rocking a neighborhood in Northern Virginia. Police were called to a home where someone had fired a flare gun over 10 times. Officers tried to execute a search warrant, and that's when things took a troubling turn.
Overnight, this terrifying house explosion caught on camera. The debris showering this neighborhood in Arlington County, Virginia. The blast felt several blocks away.
But you could feel the sound concussion.
Police were already at the scene before the explosion. They were investigating a flare gun reportedly being shot from a home. One flare in the sky seen here. Officers say they obtained a search warrant, but the suspect would not come out.
As officers attempted to execute that search warrant this evening, the suspect inside the residence discharged several rounds. The house subsequently exploded, and we continue to investigate the circumstances of the explosion.
Police say the only person apparently inside during the explosion was that suspect. The extent of injuries not confirmed overnight.
Nobody has been transported from the scene to an area hospital.
As firefighters brought the fire under control, many questions lingered, including why the suspect was firing those flares in the first place. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
Police say the suspect also discharged a firearm before the explosion. The officers on the scene suffered minor injuries in that blast. Leaders at the Victoria Regional Airport say for the first time in about a decade, the goal of 10,000 passengers start departing in a year from the airport was reached in November. This makes Victoria Regional eligible for an additional $1 million from the FAA. The money would go to improvements and new developments at the airport, and it would include new and improved runways, a new terminal building, along with an emergency response complex. A new terminal building would be great. All right, that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We ask you, do you plan to fly out of the Victoria Regional Airport in 2024? As far as you know, you may not may have made those plans yet, but let's take a look. 41% of you say yes, you will take advantage of that free parking and convenience, and 59% of you say no, keeping those feet on the ground. All right, we want to keep hearing from y'all all day. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. And the time is now 6:44 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come, a new report says some traders may have had advanced knowledge of the October 7th Hamas attack and benefited financially. Okay, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Tyrese. Hope you have an amazing day filled with many blessings, sending you much love from all your family.
And singer Maddie Pop, the first winner of the American Idol reboot on ABC, is 26 today. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Rose. May you have a great day from Michelle.
And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click on More, and under Home you see KAVU to submit your birthday.
And the time is now 6:45 on our Tuesday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
Yes, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. We have been having some beautiful weather this last few days, haven't we? In fact, yesterday's high got up to 74 and the low was 45 in the morning. But if you like this warm weather, got some good news. This is going to be sticking around for the rest of this week. Let's take a look at the temperatures here for today. Like I said, starting out in probably the mid-40s today. Actually, in fact, today's weather is going to be almost the exact same as yesterday's weather. With the cloud cover, the high temperatures, the low temperatures, everything's going to be pretty close to the same. As if you look at what it's going to warm up to today, 73, maybe even 74, which is the same as yesterday. But tonight, going to be dropping right back into the mid-40s, so you might want to bring your plants inside if you have any plants outside. Don't bring them inside. Don't let them suffer in that cold. But tomorrow, we're going to be warming up to probably just the low 70s, maybe 70 flat even. Maybe if we get lucky, if we get one more degree higher next, most of us like that warm weather. I know it's December, but It is December and it's supposed to be cold, but we'll take a look at what's going on here. We've got the eventually especially later this week, we're going to have that southerly flow return right back to our area, bringing all that warm, moist air right out of the Gulf. As you take a look here at the dew points, going to be humid in the mornings and then dry in the afternoons. I know it looks like it's dry here, but those dew points only a few degrees off from the actual temperature in the mornings. It's what's going to make it humid. But as you go through here and fast forward here throughout the next few days, watch all this moisture come right back into our area. Look at all that. Right back to the 60 degrees dew point. That is quite a humid day, bringing it right back to our area. In fact, with that nice warm weather we're having, and maybe a little humid for some of us, good day to go fishing. It was a high tide about 10:18 p.m. in the evening, low tide about 2:25 p.m. in the afternoon, with those winds 10 knots out of the east-northeast, making your bays and seas pretty smooth. And coming up a little bit, we're going to take a look at that cool front coming this weekend, bring us some cool temperatures next week, and that's coming up in just a few more moments. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. A new report suggests some investors knew about Hamas's plan to attack Israel on October 7th and used that information to profit from Israeli securities. Law professors at New York University and Columbia University examined market activity and found an unusual spike in trading 5 days before the attacks. The professors stress their findings are preliminary and they are unable to link specific traders to these transactions or determine who may have informed them of a possible attack. The research shows in the days leading up to October 7th, the short selling activity that took place far exceeded other recent events such as the COVID-19 outbreak, the 2014 Israel-Gaza war, and the 2008 global financial crisis. Neither Israeli nor U.S. financial securities leaders have responded to requests for comment. Electric vehicles have 79% more problems than other vehicles. That's the latest from the annual Auto Reliability Survey from Consumer Reports. The director of the group's Auto Testing Center says the issue isn't really because they're electric, it's because EVs are mostly newer models, and recently introduced car models generally have more issues regardless of what drives them. Car companies haven't had the length of time to work out all the kinks as they have with the models they've produced for years. Aside from that, the Auto Testing Center director says EVs tend to be higher price models with more sophisticated technology features, and so those present more opportunities for things to go wrong. The survey of EV owners found the least reliable models on average were plug-in hybrids. Hybrids that don't plug in were the most reliable. Still to come on Sunrise News to Know Before You Go. A Boston woman died in a shark attack Monday while paddleboarding near a resort. A Boston woman died in a shark attack Monday while paddleboarding near a Bahamas resort. The 44-year-old woman was about 3/4 of a mile off the coast of Nassau when the incident occurred. She had traveled to the Bahamas with a relative. A lifeguard noticed the attack and went into the water on a boat to try and rescue the victim. Authorities say the woman suffered serious injuries to the right side of her body. CPR was administered, but she had no vital signs and passed away. Authorities have not released her identity. The death toll from a volcanic eruption in Indonesia last week has now risen to at least 13 people. That's from leaders who raised the tally by 2 on Tuesday. 10 climbers still remain missing as search and rescue efforts continue, and the bodies that rescuers have recovered are being brought down Mount Marapi. The southern Indian city of Chennai grappling with flooding and heavy rains, the effects of a cyclone that's lashing the region. Local authorities say at least 6 people died ahead of its landfall evacuation efforts, and evacuation efforts remain underway with state and national disaster teams deployed. The Republican Party of Florida has called for a special meeting to address a chairman facing a sexual assault investigation. Christian Ziegler is accused of sexually assaulting a woman in October. He's denied any wrongdoing and refused to step down despite calls from the governor to do so. Ziegler reportedly admitted to having sex with the victim, but said the sex was consensual. In a statement Friday, Ziegler's attorney said, quote, "We are confident that once the police investigation is concluded that no charges will be filed." That meeting with the Republican Party of Florida will take place in Orlando on December 17th. Gold bars featured in Senator Bob Menendez's robbery case are believed to be linked to a 2013 robbery. The FBI located 4 gold bars in the search of the senator's home, and they believe they are directly linked to a New Jersey businessman now accused of bribing Menendez. The businessman Fred Davies reported to police that he was the victim of an armed robbery in 2013, and he asked police to recover the gold bars stolen from him. Police records show that Davies reported that $500,000 in cash and 22 gold bars were stolen. Authorities later caught 4 people with the stolen goods. A decade later, the FBI found 4 gold bars with unique serial numbers in the Clifton, New Jersey home of Menendez and his wife. Menendez has denied taking payoffs from Davies. The Navy says the military plane that overshot a runway in Hawaii and landed in a nearby bay was moved back on dry land over the weekend. The mishap happened at Kaneohe Bay off the Hawaiian island of Oahu on November 20th. The Navy says it used salvage roller bags to maneuver the P-8A Poseidon from under the water and off the coral, where they further positioned it to get out of the water. Leaders say its team spent a lot of time using different size bags, inflating and deflating to make small adjustments to the plane. The Navy said it's still investigating the cause of the incident. The plane is parked and available for investigation and the reclamation and repair process. Port Lavaca's annual Christmas Festival of Lights parade will be this Saturday night. It starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Bayfront Peninsula Park and it will end at Sand Crab Stadium. Organizers postponed the original date of the parade due to the Calhoun football playoff game. U.S. District Judge Janice Jack is considering whether Texas's foster care agency has made progress caring for the state's most vulnerable children or should be held in contempt for the 3rd time in an ongoing 2011 lawsuit. Read the story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite you to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. Now let's take a look at our forecast with Parker.
Well, thank you, Carolina, and good morning, folks. If y'all just wake up this morning, a little cool start out the day here on the Crossroads. 47% temperature with a dew point of 42. They'll bring humidity to 83%, but that's not too bad. But we will be warming up to some nice temperature today. Low 70s is that high today. Pretty much the same weather as yesterday, but as we take a look at what's going on here, we got a high pressure over the Rockies that's going to quickly move back to the Gulf, bringing that southerly flow, warming us back up. But we're going to have a low coming out of the Pacific. It's going to bring us a cold front by Saturday. As we take a look at your temperatures for the rest of this week, we are sticking around in the 70s until the upper 70s by this weekend, and that cold front comes through, bring us right back to the 60s by next week.
I am loving this bike-friendly weather. Thank you, Parker.
Oh yeah, it's very lovely out there. I mean, I wish I was giving it to you, but
Pulling all the stops for us.
oh yeah.
And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today, and join James, Don, Matt, Karina, and Gina today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10.